Coming up on First at 4, communities across eastern and southern Kentucky are preparing for possible heavy rainfall tonight after last week's devastating flooding. And surveillance cameras were rolling when a car crashed into a healthcare facility in Bell County.
And our severe weather alert day continues as heavy rain falls throughout the night tonight. First at 4 is next.
Dedicated to eastern and southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, our severe weather alert day continues as a round of heavy rain overnight could lead to flash flooding and possibly more river flooding. It comes 1 week after some of the worst flooding along the Cumberland River since 1977. Chief Meteorologist Paige Noel has more on the timing of tonight's heavy rain. Paige?
Steve, we do have that flash flood watch that actually goes into effect in really just a couple of hours, but everyone needs to just be aware as we head into tonight. All of us are in this flash flood warning that goes into effect around 7 and lasts till 7 a.m. And I say all of us, you'll notice we only have one county that's technically not in it, Wise County, but I'm going to put you guys in that because you guys need to be aware as we head into really the overnight hours. Some kind of lighter showers, a little bit heavier at times right now. Some of us now starting to get a break down into the Cumberland Valley. Maybe you're looking over into parts of Powell and Estill County, Lee, Wolfe County now starting to get a little bit of a break, but that heavy rain will be knocking on our front door as we head into really the next several hours. We do have those, of course, flood warnings for some of those rivers, the Cumberland River, Kentucky River. We have this aerial flood warning. It's for parts of Leslie County, mainly the confluence area, which is one of the many areas we'll keep an eye on tonight. And of course, we are going to see many warnings as we head throughout the night tonight. So make sure to have that WYMT weather app handy as you head into tonight. It's the best way to get some warnings, but we're going to start to see the system move in around that 9, 10, 11 o'clock time frame. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and the gusty winds expected with the line of heavy showers coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right, going to be a busy night, Paige. Thank you. As communities across the region survey the damage from last week's flooding, it's an all too familiar issue at one popular spot in Pike County. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more on cleanup efforts at Fish Trap Lake.
With floodwaters receding, but more rain expected to hit the Pike County area throughout the day, workers at Fish Trap Lake say they are just trying to be proactive. Waters rose through the marina early this week, bringing in debris and trash from every stream that feeds into the area.
We're like a bow, and our mountain terrain is everything just comes down to the bottom, and this is the lowest point.
The flooding comes just after the East Kentucky Marina began revitalizing the area for tourism, halting construction on the docks that marina owners have been working toward restoring. Officials with Pike County Pride, work release crews from the Pike County Detention Center, and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers employees have all been on site, working to clean things up as quickly as possible. But they say it is hard to access a lot of the debris at the current water level.
The water level is not up really high enough now to really do what we need to do, but if we let the water up a higher level now, and the danger of flooding downstream, that's a real problem we got with it right now, but we'll get what we can out.
Officials say the work will continue, but they don't expect to have any major progress until they can reach all of the debris, which could take weeks. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
Coming up at 6, we'll have more from Sanders and one of the East Kentucky marina owners. After starting to see some relief from last week's flooding, southern Kentucky is under the threat yet again as heavy rain moves in. Adam Burniston is in Whitley County and explains why flooding along the Cumberland River will not be the only issue many living there will face.
I'm here at Cumberland Falls, and believe it or not, this is about half of the flow that was coming over the falls this past weekend when the Cumberland River hit historic crests. And as heavier rain moves in, that means flooding will become an issue once again. According to park officials at the falls this weekend, they estimated that about 500,000 gallons of water was coming over the falls every second. That's when levels along the Cumberland River were reading at nearly 35 feet in Williamsburg. Now those levels have fallen to just under 22 feet, but with more rain moving in, forecasts show it rising once again to nearly 28 feet, which is its moderate flood stage. Along with flooding issues along the river, emergency manager Danny Moses says residents also need to watch out for other threats.
I think right now the biggest thing would be the flash flooding. Really, I just want to tell people, don't drive in the water. We've had one death, and we've rescued several people that has driven into the water, and it's just not worth it.
Now, another issue many are facing in these areas are mudslides, and Danny Moses tells me they'll be continuing to monitor that threat across Whitley County. At the Cumberland Falls, meteorologist Adam Burniston, WYMT Mountain News.
And make sure you stick here with us tonight and tomorrow morning for up-to-the-minute weather coverage. We'll also keep you updated on WYMT.com and on social media. And make sure you download the WYMT weather app if you haven't already. My boots. That's what a lost hiker told rescuers in Powell County last night after they asked him what type of hiking gear he had. Rescuers with the Powell County Search and Rescue say it was one of the most dangerous they've attempted. The 19-year-old hiker was stranded on a cliff. Rescuers say he did not know what trail he was on, where he was parked, or which direction he hiked in. Several members slipped while searching in the cold and dark terrain. They found the lost hiker by pinging his cell phone using whistles, and the hiker used his last remaining battery power as a flashlight. The hiker is reportedly in good shape. A car slams through the front of a downtown Pineville business this morning, and multiple surveillance cameras capture the entire sequence of events. WYMT's Connor James got a first-hand look at that video and why, despite a lot of destruction, employees are thankful it happened when it did.
Things quickly turned scary at this MCHC building in downtown Pineville this morning. 10 minutes before the store opened, a driver drove right into the building, but thankfully there was no one in the lobby. Several video cameras captured the moment the car hit the Mountain Comprehensive Health Corporation building. As the timestamp on the recording shows, this happened at 8:21. That's just about 9 minutes before the building opens at 8:30. This lobby would have been filled with patients and employees behind the desk, but it sat empty as the car drove through. The woman inside the car is expected to be okay and is not believed to be under the influence. The crash knocked out power and damaged much of the front of the building, but officials say the fact the clinic wasn't open is what they're thankful for.
There had been people sitting here at this desk. There had been people in the lobby, people walking back and forth. So it was kind of divine intervention that what happened in the time frame that it did.
Now, there was a lot of exterior structural damage to this building. Officials here at MCHC have actually brought in the person who built this building to take a look at the damages and see what can be done from here. I'm in Pineville. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Doctors with the Pineville location are in Middlesboro and Harlan currently. Crews expect the building to be repaired in about a week. Senator Bernie Sanders won last night's New Hampshire primary, but Pete Buttigieg is holding onto his delegate lead. The Vermont senator, who beat Hillary Clinton soundly in the New Hampshire primary 4 years ago, only narrowly defeated former Mayor Pete Buttigieg. CBS News estimates they will each win 9 of the Granite State's 24 delegates, which means Buttigieg remains the top delegate holder.
This victory here is the beginning of the end for Donald Trump.
Coming in a surprise third was Senator Amy Klobuchar, beating out both Senator Elizabeth Warren and former Vice President Joe Biden. Anticipating a poor showing, Biden left the state before the results were announced to go ahead and start campaigning in South Carolina. Both he and Warren are emphasizing the nomination process is much larger than 2 states. A coalition patrol returning to base this morning after it came under fire in northeastern Syria. That's the sound of AK-47s firing on the U.S.-led coalition forces. The confrontation happened at a checkpoint occupied by pro-Syrian regime forces. Officials say the patrol issued a series of warnings to de-escalate, then came under fire. The patrol returned fire. It's not known if there were any coalition injuries or deaths. Tensions in that part of the region are heightened following a U.S. drone strike that killed Iran's top military commander last month. President Donald Trump praised his Attorney General this morning after the Justice Department rejected its own prosecutor's sentencing recommendation for the president's longtime friend, Roger Stone. The president said he did not ask the Justice Department to intervene. DOJ officials say they made the unusual move because they were unhappy with the prosecutor's recommendation in the case. The DOJ says it still thinks Stone deserves prison time when he is sentenced next week, but it will defer to the judge to determine how long. Another horse lost its life at Santa Anita Park in Southern California. 6-year-old Double Touch died while training Saturday. The cause of death is currently unknown. Since December 2018, nearly 40 horses have died at the park. The track made a number of changes since then to increase horse safety. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office investigated the park and found no indication of animal cruelty or criminal activity. Let's head over to Wall Street now. On this Wednesday afternoon, the Dow closes up today more than 275 points. The 40th season of Survivor kicks off tonight on WYMT, and all the contestants are previous winners. Among the castaways, you'll find a familiar face. Nick Wilson, the winner of David versus Goliath from Whitley County, is going to the island for the second time. But this time, he's playing for $2 million instead of $1. While he would not give us any hints as to how far he got in the game, he was excited to play against other Survivor legends.
I'm telling you, it lives up to the hype. So as a fan, as a person that played out there, I think this will be the greatest season of all time.
Survivor Winners at War kicks off tonight at 8 o'clock, and you'll hear more from Nick tonight at 6.
Millions of people get sick every year from food contaminated with salmonella or E. coli. I'm Elise Preston with a report that gives most supermarkets a failing grade when it comes to warning customers about recalled food.
Heavy rain and gusty winds move in overnight. We'll break down the timing and impacts next.